Welcome back, ASUN fans, to the final season in review. This one being, of course, baseball. This year featured two teams in the postseason finding regional play. Let's see how it all happened. Starting off with the Bellarmine Knights. The first thing to mention when talking about the Bellarmine Knights is the towering season of Matt Higgins. Higgins shattered records en route to winning ASUN Player of the Year. Record-breaking doesn't even begin to describe the season he had after breaking the single-season home run record for Bellarmine and the all-time home run record for the Knights. He knocked 22 homers over the walls, which led the ASUN and was good for top 20 in the nation. His .770 slugging percentage was the league best by more than 100 points, and his extra base hits led the way for the Knights, who collected 11 wins this year, 8 within the ASUN. The runs for BU came in flurries this year with 7 double-digit run totals put up, highlighted with 41 runs scored in the ASUN series versus UNA. Speak of, let's move on to the North Alabama Lions. The Lions were able to make some noise in ASUN play, getting 5 of their 12 wins within the league. 3 of those came via sweep of the Bellarmine Knights, outscoring them 32-19 in the 3-game series. Although the season didn't go quite as planned for the Lions, they had some players collect gold in the postseason awards. Designated hitter Luke Harper swiped a second-team All-ASUN slot, with Jonathan Lane landing on the ASUN All-Freshman team. Harper finished 3rd in the ASUN in batting average, hitting .379 while ending the season over the coveted 1,000 OPS mark. Harper did all of that with just 1 home run, with the biggest reason being his on-base percentage. Harper finished with an OBP over 500 and had a disciplined eye, taking 46 free passes, good for 2nd in the conference. It was a season that marked the end of a legendary 34-year run for head coach Mike Ken, as he headed into the well-deserved retirement, and we congratulate him for a terrific career. Moving along to the Jacksonville Dolphins. The Dolphins were a tough out all year for not just teams in the ASUN, but also around the nation. Jacksonville upset the powerhouse of FSU, while the Seminoles were ranked 10th in the country at the time. They got the win on their home turf, and that was a theme that carried throughout the season, stacking up 17 wins in Jacksonville, Florida. The success began on the mound with Mason Adams pumping gas for 108 strikeouts to lead the ASUN and being just one of 2 pitchers to reach triple digits in the land. His strikeout pace was good for 3rd in the league, averaging 10.8 Ks per 9 innings. While Adams took care of the start, Tyler Vogel would shut the door, garnering 10 saves, helping to score the Dolphins 3rd in the ASUN in team ERA. The pitching wasn't the only plus for the Dolphins. They had players knock the ball out of the park and steal some bases. Blake DeLongbalure and Chase Malloy both ripped 19 bags on the base pass, while Christian Coypel blasted 13 homers. Keeping it moving in the state of Florida with the Stetson Hatters. The Hatters proved to be able to compete with anyone who stepped to the plate, getting 2 big-time ranked wins. Stetson not only defeated number 23 Florida State 6-0, but then took down number 3 Miami on the road with a walloping 12-4 victory in Florida. But the wins over ranked opponents did not stop there, with Stetson getting the series victory over number 15 Liberty in a 3-game series. Although the ASUN season didn't start as they hoped, the Hatters capped it off right with a series win over the Dolphins and a non-conference win over USF, winning 4 of their final 6 regular season games. Outfielder Cameron Hill leaped off the page this year in the box and in the field. Hill hit .311 and was the only player on the team to hit above 300 and get 10 or more doubles on the season. He also reached 100 bases, the only Hatter to do so, but he wasn't the only Hatter to blaze the base paths, as the Hatters landed 2nd in the ASUN in stolen bases with 93. Next up, the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. It had been somewhat familiar ground for JSU this year, returning to the ASUN for the first time since the 2003 season. In their first year, they were able to snag the final spot in the ASUN Championship and secure a tournament win over Jacksonville 8-4. The standout for the Gamecocks this year was undoubtedly Isaiah Magwood. Magwood led JSU to 7 wins on the Hill on his way to a 2.5 ERA, scoring 2nd in the conference. The righty fanned 78 batters this year in his 70 innings of work, holding opponents to a batting average of just .235. On the other side, Mason Manners held down the JSU offense, smacking a .335 average up, while TJ Reeves and Carson Crow both had outstanding offensive years. Reeves also ended the season with a 300+ batting average, one of 4 Gamecocks to do so. Reeves made his impact in the field with highlight reel catches to go with the offense. As for Crow, he provided the pop for the Gamecocks. Crow clobbered 12 homers, the only JSU player to reach double digits, and was the only player to reach over 40 RBIs, driving in 45 total on the year. Put all of those performances together and you have 19 conference wins for JSU in 2022. Next up, the North Florida Ospreys. The postseason treated the Ospreys well, not only on the field, but in the conference honors. UNF got the rare opportunity to end their season with a win after beating Jacksonville 9-3 in pool play in Fort Myers, Florida. The talent of the Ospreys was undeniable and recognized around the league, with Isaiah Byers earning an all-conference first-team shot at shortstop, while Peter Holden, Aiden Sweat, and Abraham Sequeira were all recognized in the ASUN on the second-team awards. Sequeira proved to be the driving force while driving in runs for UNF this year, collecting 53 RBIs and a .522 slugging percentage. He also left the yard 11 times, which led the team. Brock Edge took advantage of the opportunities on and off the field with an ASUN All-Academic nod. Edge showed his talent this year by piling onto an already stacked resume with an OPS of .916 and a .324 batting average. He also led the team with 15 doubles in the gaps. The Ospreys were a tough out this year with series wins over East foes, Florida Gulf Coast, and Kennesaw State. Now we head west to the Central Arkansas Bears. Another competitor in the West that posted a strong record in 2022 with an 18-12 tally in their first ASUN season. It was a blazing start for the Bears, with UCA being the last team in the ASUN to lose a conference series, and that happened in May. You heard that right. UCA did not lose their first conference series until May 1st, and were 14-6 going into that series, taking 2 of 3 of every opponent to that point. A big reason for that was because they often got the first win of the series off the right shoulder of Tyler Cleveland, the ASUN Pitcher of the Year. Cleveland sent a lot of hitters back to the dugout this year, posting a .293 ERA to go with a 7-2 record while striking out 101 hitters. His win total was tied for the league lead, and his ERA checked in at 3rd in the ASUN. As soon as you would worry about Cleveland on the mound, Hunter Hicks and Connor Emmett would take you deep, with the pair lifting 11 home runs apiece. With the power also came the contact, and the Bears were by far the hardest team to strike out in the conference this year. Now back to Florida to review the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles. I'll make this one simple. If you liked home runs, then you loved this team. FGCU, of course, led the local circuit in dingers with 94, but they also finished top 30 in the country in home runs and home runs per 9 innings. Describing this offense as explosive is an understatement. While they had the eye-popping home run stats, they were just able to get runs across in any fashion, landing 7th across the NCAA in runs scored per game with 8.3. 4 Eagles reached double digits in the homer department, with Ian Farrell finishing 2nd in the ASUN with 21, Joe Kinker right behind with 20. Maybe just as impressive, 4 Eagles also finished the season with OPS marks over 1,000, along with some serious gold handed out to some players. Batting champion Alejandro Figueiredo and Joe Kinker both earned first-team ASUN honors, with Brian Ellis and ASUN RBI leader Ian Farrell sliding into the second-team slots. To get a better grasp of this offense, there was a stretch early in the conference season where they scored 46 runs in a 3-game series. Even though they didn't win the title, they got the title for the most powerful team in the ASUN by a country mile. Now headed north to review the Lipscomb Bisons. It's time in this season in review where we are into our regular season champs, the first of 4, first being Lipscomb. After ending the season with a 20-10 record, the Bisons claimed a share of the West with EKU. We begin the Bisons highlights with Malik Williams, who had yet another spectacular season. Williams led the way for Lipscomb, sporting a .366 average with 66 RBI, scoring 2nd in the conference. With 1,000+ OPS, he launched 14 home runs to pair with a team-leading 134 total bases. Not far behind him was Caleb Ketchup, the ASUN Defensive Player of the Year. Ketchup also won the stolen base title, swiping 32 bags to complement a solid year at the dish. Rudy Maxwell and Maddox Houghton both chipped in with 300+ averages and 84 RBIs between the two of them. Starting pitcher Michael Dunkelberger turned some heads this year, pinning a 3.45 ERA, earning 5th around the pack. ASUN Coach of the Year Jeff Forehand laid the way for the Bisons to thrive in the West and secure the 2 seed in the ASUN Championship, giving the backhand to 20 ASUN opponents. In the ASUN Championship, the Bisons took down the eventual champions in the Kennesaw State Owls in dramatic fashion with a 12-10 win. Now we turn the page and look at the other half of the West champs, the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. The first thing to mention when talking about EKU is the overall record and what they did at home. A 38-20 record with 22 wins coming at home compared to just 6 losses. Those 38 wins were the most they've had since 1990, and they did so in part with the efforts from Kendall Ewell, who tore the cover off the ball this year. An ASUN All-First Team member who is a top-tier hitter in the nation with a 364 average, 14 long balls, and 3 of those coming in the same game. Atop all of the accolades, Ewell was a finalist for the Golden Spikes Award. Not far behind him in the lineup was Will King, another ASUN First Team member. King was nearly the king of the conference in the toughest to strike out category, nabbing 4th and 51st in the nation. What's better than one Will? Make it 2, but this time I'm talking about the ASUN leader in saves, Will Bryant. Bryant was phenomenal out of the bullpen, finishing 3rd in the country in saves with 15. In 31 appearances, Bryant surrendered only 8 runs, while also punching out 53 hitters, holding their average to an abysmal 120 opponent batting average. EKU tore it up in the championship with 3 postseason wins over Jacksonville, Jacksonville State, and North Florida. Now over to the co-regular season champs of the East, the Liberty Flames. After starting off the year as a top-ranked team, the Flames showcased their talent throughout the year, racking up 37 wins, 19 of those in ASUN play. Not to mention 2 wins over the number 9 Florida Gators. Now let's talk about this eccentric pitching staff. Joe Adamitz III finished the year as the ERA leader in the conference, allowing just 2.51 earned run average and 86 innings of work, handing over just 24 earned runs all year long. Right next to him in the rotation was Garrett Horn, who was a sight to behold. Horn pitched 51 in a 3rd innings this year, totaled 80 Ks, which adds up to 14 punchouts per 9 innings. Horn wasn't the only one to have the ability to miss bats, as the Flames were 15th in the NCAA in Ks per 9. With Adamitz landing on the first team All-ASUN, he was accompanied by designated hitter Brady Gulikowski. Gulikowski led the Flames with 16 round trippers and an RBIs with 63, laying the path for one well-rounded offense. They could take you deep, but they could also sit back and capitalize on opponents' mistakes, ranking 40th in the nation and 2nd in the ASUN in walks with nearly 300 on the year. The Flames made it to the championship game in the ASUN tournament, but fell just short to the Owls. But that wasn't the end of the road. Liberty was then able to advance to NCAA competition and play in the Gainesville, Florida Regional. These grimy dirtbags did it. Our ASUN champions, the Kennesaw State Owls. It was the Owls' first title since the 2014 season, and it did not come easy. The road was rocky to begin for the postseason for KSU, losing the first 2 games to Lipscomb and Liberty, giving up 12 runs in both of those games. With their backs against the wall, they rattled off 3 straight games to win the ASUN title 10-6 over the Liberty Flames. The contributors list from this team is long, but it has to start with Josh Hatter. Special is the perfect definition for his year, as he hit nearly 400 and broke the single-season KSU hits record and won the national crown for hits with 109. He was also tied for the lead in the NCAA with 26 doubles. Maybe the most remarkable feat Hatcher accomplished was when he hit for the cycle twice in the same week. As incredible as he was, there were a lot of other bright spots, such as the Cash Young and Donovan Cash. Cash Young smashed 17 homers, also the KSU school record, and Donovan Cash earned ASUN Freshman of the Year after swinging a hot stick all year, posting a .352 average. The freshman also earned All-America accolades from Collegiate Baseball and the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association. The rotation also popped off with transfers John Besnicek and Jack Myers. Myers was the workhorse for the staff, pitching nearly 91 innings, while Bez led the team in ERA with a .376 feet. While the superlatives and credit could go on for a while, the Owls then advanced to the Hattiesburg Regional in Mississippi. After taking the LSU Tigers to the brink, they then defeated and knocked out the Army Black Knights 9-8. Josh Hatcher earned Southeast All-Regional Team honors for his performances in the 3 regional games. If there's one thing we learned from this year, it's that these dirtbags wear the gold. And that's a wrap. The 2022 baseball season ends our spring sports with the Kennesaw State Owls being our baseball champions. A big thank you to all the participants who make this year possible per usual, as well as everyone watching at home to help make these season reviews complete. I'm Jordan Griffith with the ASUN Conference, and I'll be seeing you around the block.